What's going on, guys? D2's here and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a quick Destiny 2 update, so let's jump in and see what Bungie's got for us this week. Well, today we had server maintenance and the hotfix is now available, and this is going to enable some of the content coming in the next couple of weeks. Also, we have some of the first words from Bungie about when we can expect updates inside of January 2018, which is something all of us have been eagerly awaiting. And we've also got some new information from Jason Schreier over at Kotaku about the production of Destiny 2, which is pretty interesting. So as far as the hotfix goes that we received today, it's pretty basic. Basically, it enables the Iron Banner and faction rallies for people who don't own the DLC. The patch notes basically state that the players who don't own the Curse of Osiris DLC may once again access the Iron Banner and pledge to faction rallies during those faction rally events. Basically, Bungie stepped in and fixed all of the content that was locked away for those people who didn't own the DLC. Now, as for when we are going to hear from Bungie on all of the promised updates and changes they are going to be addressing in 2018, well, we had our very first words from D2's today on Twitter, and he said, "Happy New Year. Back at Bungie today to check final details for tomorrow's deployment. We'll be restoring game rituals like Iron Banner and faction rallies, and they are going to be restoring those next week on the live calendar." D2's also went on to say, "I get the new and improved community band back together on January 8th. That's when ADMG04 and Cosmo 23 return from a winter mountainous excursion and paternity leave. But until then, the studio is welcoming people back from holiday one by one." So more or less, we probably won't be hearing anything from Bungie this week on any of the updates. More than likely, we're gonna probably see something Thursday, but D2's did say updates to the live calendar will come next week. So we're just gonna have to wait another week to get any of those details. Now, moving on, I wanted to talk about some of the donning rewards, and there is a way to get a bunch of rewards without having to do much work at all, or at least after you have picked up all of the schematics, that is. So, once you have picked up all of the available schematics in-game, you will then begin to get daily donning gifts from Ikora without having to complete schematics. So you don't actually have to complete all the schematics, you just have to pick up all of the available schematics to unlock the daily gifts. And as you'll see right here, I pick them up from the box over by Ikora, and I get some shaders and a speeder for free. So I just wanted to point that out in case any of you have not discovered this little trick yet. Another thing I wanted to talk about is something Jason Schreier from Kotaku mentioned on the Destiny Tracker podcast this week. Of course, Jason Schreier works for Kotaku, and he's leaked a whole bunch of info about Destiny in the past, including leaks from the Curse of Osiris. So we know he's got a lot of inside sources about the game and with Bungie. And this is what he said on the Destiny Tracker podcast. So he says, "I think Destiny 2 was made in a relatively short period of time. There was a big reboot of Destiny 2 at some point early in 2016. There had been a previous director that was directing the game before Luke Smith, but that guy was put aside and Luke Smith was brought in to take the game over." He added, "If remembering correctly, that was around April of 2016, so Bungie didn't really have a ton of time to make Destiny 2, which was essentially a 16-month period between the reboot and game launch." So if that information is true, then it's pretty telling as to why some of the stuff in Destiny 2 is like it is. To build a game like Destiny within 16 months is just not a lot of time, And it's interesting as we've heard this in the past because Destiny 1 was rebooted a year or so before it was actually released. It seems to be something that Bungie does pretty regularly, but Schreier goes on to say that we, being Bungie, can't do this anymore. It's very hard for us to be releasing DLCs every few months, and the tools that we have to work with are very hard to push out content that quickly from. They went on to say they also wanted to do a smaller drip feed and that they were going to be putting stuff like the Eververse in to help make money that way. Bungie basically proposed this to Activision, and Activision came back and said, okay, so according to Jason Schreier and how this is worded, it was actually Bungie who proposed to Activision that the Eververse be put in game. Making a game like Destiny isn't easy, and the environment they are in with Activision, I'm sure, is very trying, but they probably have their hand forced in a lot of different situations into making new ways of revenue and creating different streams like that. Bungie has had a difficult time with Destiny as a whole over the last few years, but I think with what Jason Schreier has brought to the table is pretty interesting and at least gives us some insight as to why Destiny is the way it is and how Bungie functions. So basically that's all I've got this week, guys. That is the quick update for the week, and please let me know your thoughts in the comments section. But if you guys have enjoyed the video, please drop a like. It is very, very much appreciated. If you are new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe if you want to stay up to date with the latest D2 content. But for now, you all stay awesome, and I will see you next time.